This video briefly describes the lymphatic system of the human body. These are the objectives of the presentation. We will first see what lymphatic system is, then we will try to understand the anatomy and functions of the lymphatic system, and finally we will briefly discuss the common diseases that affect this very vital system of the human body. If you see the figure on the right hand side of this slide, you will understand that blood carrying oxygen and nutrients to the tissues runs through the arterial system. Deoxygenated blood and metabolic waste products return to the lungs and heart by venous system. However, 10% of the fluid fails to be taken up by the veins. This fluid, rich in proteins, is brought back to the heart via a network of vessels, ducts and lymph nodes. This special fluid is called lymph, and the network bringing it back to the heart is called the lymphatic system. Lymph nodes are small, bean-shaped masses of lymphoid tissue. Each lymph node has three regions, which are the outermost capsule, depicted here as capital C, the middle cortex, shown here as CX, and the innermost medulla, depicted here as capital M. Cortex contains inactivated B and T lymphocytes. It also has a rich population of dendritic cells and macrophages. The inner medulla consists primarily of activated antibody secreting plasma cells. The lymphoid tissue is divided into two main groups: primary lymphoid tissue and secondary lymphoid tissue. The primary lymphoid tissue, seen here as a network, consists of lymph vessels, ducts, and nodes. Lymphatic vessels collect interstitial fluid and transport it to the lymph nodes. These lymph nodes filter out damaged cells, bacteria, and other foreign bodies. Once this fluid passes out of the lymph nodes, it travels to the larger vessels and eventually the lymph ducts, which converge in the thoracic duct at the base of the neck. The thoracic duct returns fluid lymph into the bloodstream. The secondary lymphoid tissue, on the other hand, consists of tonsils, adenoids, thymus, spleen, and bone marrow. The spleen happens to be the largest lymphoid tissue of the body. The lymph system has three main functions. The first function is balance of fluid in the body. It returns excess fluid and proteins from the tissues that cannot return through the blood vessels. Any disruption in this function leads to localized swelling known as lymphedema. Second, lymphatic system helps in absorption. Part of the gut membrane in the small intestine contains tiny finger-like protrusions called villi. Each villus contains small lymph capillaries known as lacteals. Lacteals absorb fluid which is rich in fat and fat-soluble vitamins and forms a milky white fluid called the chyle. The third function of the lymphatic system is to defend the body from damage by potentially hazardous microorganisms that succeed in entering the body and affect and damage the human body. Enlarged lymph nodes occur in many conditions. The first is infection, which may be acute, such as tonsillitis or pharyngitis. The second condition causing enlarged lymph nodes is called lymphoma. This is a primary cancer involving the lymph nodes. Secondary cancer cells may spread from their primary cancers via the lymphatic system and settle down into the draining lymph nodes, making them swell. These cancer deposits are known as metastases. The most common examples are breast cancer and melanoma. This is just a revision of the three main diseases that affect the lymphatic system: infections, lymphoma, and metastases. So, in summary, lymphatic system is a collection of vessels, nodes, and ducts. It is also made up of secondary lymphoid tissue, and it drains excess fluid accumulating in the body tissue. Failures of the lymphatic system can cause swelling, venous dysfunction, and life threatening complications. Thank you.